We live in a culture that treats the individual as the ultimate project. We are instructed to prioritize personal freedom, achieve self-actualization, and keep our options completely open. But this intense focus has left us utterly isolated. The tools in our pockets actively train us to avoid deep connection. Endless scrolling feeds, dating apps, and the broader internet architecture command us to sample one thing after another. They are, effectively, decommitment devices. Sociologist David Brooks calls this sequence of life the first mountain. It is the path our culture readily endorses. You get out of school, start a career, focus on acquisition, and build an ego. In a commencement address to college graduates, Brooks gave what he called the ultimate spoiler alert. The view from the top of that peak is incredibly hollow. Once you achieve that personal success, you mostly find long periods of loneliness. Our relentless pursuit of liberty hasn't actually set us free. By elevating personal choice above all else, we have torn the social fabric in 1,000 different ways, triggering a massive crisis of connection. Following that disillusionment, most people descend into what Brooks calls the valley. This is an inevitable season of suffering, a moment of profound failure, or a sudden realization that the life they built is insufficient. This valley interrupts the superficial flow of everyday life. It breaks people open, stripping away the polished identities they normally put on display for the rest of the world. Down in this space, they are forced to confront a neglected substrate of their own soul. This is the place where their darkest wounds, but also their most powerful, dormant yearnings live. A stark choice emerges here. Some shrink away in fear, retreating into smaller, resentful lives. Others find the courage to let parts of their old, self-centered identity die. Escaping this valley requires a complete departure from what came before. We have to abandon the market logic of self-interest entirely and adopt an entirely new way of living. The moral world operates on an inverse set of rules. To find yourself, you have to lose yourself. To gain inner strength, you must surrender to something outside your own desires. Brooks outlines a specific civic vocabulary for this surrender. He calls it the second mountain. Climbing it requires a shift from independence to extreme interdependence. Instead of keeping your options open, you throw yourself into deep, uncompromising commitments. These commitments generally rest on 4 pillars: a vocation, a family, a philosophy, and a local community. This means falling in love with something and building a rigid structure of behavior around it, a structure that will carry you through moments when your motivation inevitably falters. Lasting civic fulfillment does not come from endlessly exploring your freedom. It comes from intentionally and joyfully ending it for the sake of others. This exact same mechanism of surrender exists in entirely different contexts, like the ancient indigenous medicine traditions of Peru. Healers in these traditions use sacred medicine, like ayahuasca, accompanied by icaros, specific medicine songs. These songs act as a spiritual technology designed to purge the ego and release deep-seated fears. Indigenous teachings warn that the rational mind is merely a tool, one that frequently forgets our true essence and clings to illusions of separation. To heal, a person must bypass that isolated intellect and reconnect directly with Pachamama, Mother Earth, tapping into a shared, universal ecosystem. The core realization here perfectly mirrors Brooks' civic philosophy. An isolated person cannot cure themselves. They require the love, the structure, and the songs of the entire tribe. Whether you are trying to build a neighborhood in a modern city or singing in a medicine circle in the jungle, personal and social transformation are the exact same process. The ultimate destination of both paths is a state of being known as moral joy. Basic happiness occurs when a personal, isolated desire is fulfilled. Moral joy emerges when your desire is turned outward for the benefit of others. This focus on others forms a substrate of commonality, cutting straight through the hostility and division of modern culture. Whenever we look past a person's utility and treat them as an infinite soul, we are actively weaving that social fabric. Despite the isolating ambitions of our youth, we are united at the deepest levels of our existence. As the Peruvian lyrics remind us, as one we walk this earth together. True purpose is always a reaching beyond ourselves toward a shared moral cause. We will never find lasting joy by looking inward. We only discover it when we finally surrender to the people and the causes standing right in front of us.